want to know is exactly what tools are you using, what are you saying, and how often are you doing it. So guys, get prepared. I'm not letting you off easy. All right, welcome our marketing panel up to the stage. We have the lovely Selena Williams with Selena Williams and Associates. We have Jessica Wade with eXp Realty. Give it up, give it up. Lexi Blevins with Real Broker and her team under Monarch Realty. Welcome up. Of course, we got our co-host here, Tom Ollis. And Paige Bland Thompson. We're good. Let's go, Paige. Ooh, that was a nice crowd. Nobody cheers for me like that. That's all right. All right.
If it was behind us, I'd say yes.
I may not have sat on somebody's water bottle. Don't worry about that. All right. Well, hi, everybody. You guys ready to dig into some business?
Yes.
So, this is the Marketing Masters panel. You're all up here for a reason, because you've obviously found success in what you're doing. And I know in the last few years, what used to work may not be working as well anymore. And there's also new things that are working. There's also fundamentals that will always work. So, my goal here, and I hope I have Tom's blessing on this, is we really want to dig into the nitty-gritty, get into the weeds, so everybody here taking notes can write some things down where they can leave today and go, I'm going to do this because I'm here, I'm invested, I'm committed to my business, and I want to learn something that maybe I didn't know before or didn't have the details on how to execute. Does that sound good? Does that sound good to you guys? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to kick this off with a pretty simple question, and we're going to go a few layers deep on this. One at a time, share with me something that is no longer working for you in your business that might have been working a few years ago. Talking lead generation. I start right here because you got the mic, so you got the pressure.
So my team tried internet leads for a while and they weren't working for us. So we ended up letting those go. We're actually adding those back in again because I felt like it wasn't necessarily that the leads weren't working. I felt like I didn't provide people with correct follow-up cadence in order to make them successful and the correct scripting. So we are trying it again, but that was something that I definitely added to my business and then stopped doing it for a few years. And now we're trying it again in 2026.
Okay, nothing like trial and error. Whoa, you don't get to pass that yet. So when you say internet leads,
yes,
get a little more specific. Are we talking paying for Zillow? Are you running your own PPC? What do you mean by internet leads?
So we don't do Zillow on my team. We are Redfin partner agents on my team. So we do get lead flow from Redfin. Those are great. Those are like the easiest leads you could possibly get. But Redfin does take like 25% of your commission. And that doesn't include your team split either. So they're expensive leads, but they're easy to close. When I was say more internet leads, I was talking more like Facebook and Instagram ads and Google ads, those sort of leads. And those do require a lot of hand-holding and a whole lot of follow-up. And we just did not have the correct tracking in our CRM and the correct like cadence to be able to handle those.
Okay, so you're not necessarily saying the source wasn't good, it was the systems after the lead comes in that maybe weren't clicking. Would you
Yes. And I will admit to this room, I've been in this industry for I'm going on my 10th year. I just finally got a CRM like together and organized about 2 years ago. I don't even have one. I will say my life has gotten a lot easier now that I have a CRM. Please make sure you have one. It will be so much easier. But like, I just really started digging into like systems and processing. Yeah.
Okay, cool. You're off the hook now.
No, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, no.
Because part of what you said is obviously, to me, what I've always viewed with leads is like, especially if you're spending money for it with paid ads, you're planting a seed. And then at that point, in order to cultivate that seed, what you talked about, the part that wasn't there, was the follow-up and really kind of the micromanagement of the investment that you're making into the business.
Correct.
So CRM, yes, it'll do an automated soft touch, but it's not going to get it's not going to turn the dial as much as when you talked about the systems that you had to make in order to cultivate. What is that system? Like, what are you doing that turns the dial for you to take a close rate of, 3% to 6%, or what was the difference maker from a leadership perspective that you did? Whether it was, hey, maybe it was the CRM and it's tracking the follow-up so you can see it, What was that difference that made it a worthwhile investment for you to change your mind and go back and do it again?
Well, so I obviously have seen the success that so many other people have had with online leads. And so then that becomes a question of, okay, other people are doing this successfully. Where's the missing piece on my end? And at the time, I didn't have time to like dig in and invest to figure that out. So we just stopped doing it, which is what I would recommend for anyone in this room. If something isn't working and you don't have the time to figure out how to fix the thing, just drop it. It doesn't make sense for you to try to keep paying for it. So now that looks more like automated drip campaigns. Obviously your CRM does a little bit of that, but also scripting and knowing where we are in the lead flow. And also, we use Lofty on our team, and there is like a leaderboard feature within Lofty. So on our like weekly team calls, pulling that up, seeing who is calling what, who is touching the most amount of people, like it literally tracks your speed to lead in it. So you can definitely see your own shortcomings.
I love it. So really holding the team accountable and then creating a competitive environment to where you see the person that is following up the most is the person closing as much, right?
Yes.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you.
Jessica, you mind if I flip the question a little bit?
Go for it.
I'd love for you to share something that is working really well for you right now in your business.
Yes, so I'm an independent producing agent, and if you look at the National Association of Realtors statistics, between 85 and 90% of all buyers and sellers in the last year used a real estate agent that was either referred to them or they had a prior relationship with. So I have taken that knowledge and have poured into creating community. And so, like she said, she didn't have a CRM. I don't have a CRM, or she didn't. And I will tell you, and the reason I don't is because I want my touches to be so personalized. And when you get caught up in that CRM and those drip systems, it kind of takes away from that personalization and that relationship. And so the way that I kind of nurture my top, I have about between 150 and 200 people on my database, and I am constantly staying in touch with them by utilizing events. And so that's my cheat code to be able to reach out to my database and not ask them about real estate. So my number one event, and something that everyone in this room can do immediately, is to ask somebody to coffee. And when you text them, you say, I'm going to treat you to coffee. Can you meet me next Tuesday? And you will probably text about 5 to 10 people before somebody says yes. But you just called, you just contacted, you just dripped on 5 to 10 people in a genuine, authentic way, and then you're golden. So I utilize events, everything from coffees to lunches to sponsoring community events. And I don't hold my own events, you guys. Like a lot of times agents get caught up in when they hear you need to host an event, they think they have to get the venue and the caterer and the entertainment and, have this big thing. I just met with an agent this week. She spent $12,000 on her first event and 10 people showed up. And it was because she had, in my opinion, had poor mentorship, right? Because she was told to just, I will tell all agents all the time, do the event, but I want you guys to be realistic. So if in my community, I'm from Gainesville, we have the free concerts on Friday nights during the summer months. Utilize that free event. You guys, you can grab a chair and put a balloon up and say, hey guys, I'm gonna be at this event, would love to see you. And you can leave it at that, and that's $0 to you, it's just your time. You can up it up, take it up one level, which is what I do, and give out a free ice cream ticket. Hey, stop by and see me, I'll give you a ticket to a free ice cream. The most I've spent in those conditions was like $100 on ice cream. So events is where my business is at.
And free events at that, which is really, this is what we were hoping to accomplish when Patrick and I discussed, give us boots on the ground examples and using a free concert event and inviting people to it to continue to build that camaraderie is outstanding. The biggest thing that comes from that then is follow-up. You mentioned 10 calls, whether it's text, email. Is there a system that you have in place to where that's a daily goal? Are you time blocking for that? How are you holding yourself accountable to, without a CRM that is doing that drip, which is the nice part of, why I do like CRMs, because at least there is some top of mind. you're creating that on your own as a solo entrepreneur. What is your schedule for that? Is there a regiment that you hold yourself accountable to?
Yeah, so I have a game I play with myself. I think I'm competitive. And so I have a points game. I need to get 40 points 3 days a week. So I have, send a text message as a point, send a video message, 2 points, post on social media, 3 points, send a handwritten card, 4 points. So I have a point system, and whatever you do, as long as you're consistent, you're going to get business. The problem is a lot of agents, we kind of get busy, or we talk ourselves out of doing what we know we need to be doing. But if you would just be consistent, you can do it. But time blocking, I'm not great at time blocking, but I'm great at accomplishing my goal.
Accountability. And
Yeah.
I think the great part about that, if you hear, it's not in your point system, it's not closed transactions. It's not purchase agreements. It's all of the activities that yield those results. And I think when you start to look at the business from an aspect of, instead of tracking the success, let's track what got to the success, right? And by doing that, that's what's creating the ability for you to, one, be on the marketing stage without a CRM, because you did something that's personal. Like, to me, you're competitive, as you know, in this industry, and I know the first panel that we had up here, the gentleman said it, it's you versus you. There's, I don't know the exact numbers, I think he said 14 million, 12 million, whatever the population is here, and there was 100,000 licensed agents. Get your piece, right? So outstanding. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
So Paige, on the same topic of lead gen, marketing, all of that, is there anything that you're doing in your business to generate business that you would consider very unique, or do you stay strictly with the basics?
I find that my business is unique and real and authentic. So I really utilize Instagram particularly because I find that that's the space where I belong in that space. I am constantly talking to an ideal client. Her name is Piper. I know everything about her. I know where she likes to hang out. I know what challenges she's facing. I know how many dogs she has. I know their names. I know her kids. And I know that she is currently in a home and she's wanting to move up in the market. So all in all, Instagram, social media, the biggest takeaway here, and I'm very, very passionate about this, is to show up anyways, okay? You are good enough. You have always been good enough. And you can become whoever you want to become. And you can help so many people if you just focus on other people. And when you have this ideal client in mind, that allows you to be authentic. You listen, because sometimes you just have to shut your mouth and listen to the consumer. But talk about these topics as you're going on appointments, writing stuff down on a sheet of paper, getting on your social media, and stop being so scared. You just have to, because helping somebody else should outweigh everything. Whatever fear you have, it's not about us, it's about them. And showing up anyways, and being passionate, and being energetic, and have this energy about yourself that people just get attracted to that. And so that's my biggest thing that I do to make it unique, authentic, listen, and be as consistent as you can, but also be yourself. Don't pretend to be somebody else, because you will be exposed later down the road. So.
I love that. And part of, the being authentic and with yourself, but using a medium that I think the intention of social media when it came out wasn't necessarily going to be replacing paid media, right? If you look at a gentleman that we had up here earlier that was in the industry, really probably the year I was born, before cell phones, we would have to pay to be able to have those impressions, right? If I was gonna put up a billboard, it was gonna cost me this much to see it. Are you intentional with what you're posting for the purpose of business? Or do you let it flow as far as, this is who I am, this is my passion, and it's a mixture of personal and family? Or do you separate if Instagram is your main medium, are you separating the business side of it from personal? Or how do you operate that piece of it?
That's a really, really great question. And it's something that I've learned, that trial and error. Real estate is always trial and error. Same as social media, you learn as you go. And embracing the failures and also the wins too, I think is really important as part of your journey. But to answer your question, real estate is part of who I personally am. And so when I show up on social media, it's kind of like whatever I feel like that day, to be honest with you. Don't mesh just real estate. That gets boring, there's only so many things that we can talk about, and there's only so many things that other people relate to. That's the whole thing with Instagram and social media. You've got to create connection. You've got to be relatable. You've got to be authentic in yourself. So show everything is kind of how, that's all I do on my social media. And if you go on my page, you will see dogs, you will see construction, you will see my husband and I being super goofy and just like little kids in a candy store a lot of the times. We travel, we want people in on our personal life because that's what builds trust and that's what makes an imprint in other people's lives.
Yeah, and I think, the word that comes to mind for me is, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle, right? And I think when you walk into a room to where you said, don't be fake, if all you are on social media or what you're presenting is this staunch business person that talks about the hard facts of, I'm a good negotiator, this is what I've done, and then they get to meet you and then they see the goofy side, which is like what more people will relate to, because most of us we're not the polished AI videos that can be published. People want to work with humans, and really understanding that you are a walking billboard and you don't need to be anything different than what you are. And I've seen that work in really not only for my originators but for the agents that are in this room. Like for everybody, if you look, and I think comparison is the thief of accomplishment a lot of times. If you look up your social media, and maybe that's not you. Maybe you're not the goofy person with your husband and you're more into, or wife, and you're into reading books. There's also a huge population of people that are going to relate to that. So, the biggest thing with marketing is understand, it boils back to the first comment that I heard today. Get your piece, right? There's a crowd for all of us out there to be able to accomplish it. So.
I would also say post stuff that's interactive. A great silly example would be I had all of my followers vote on what I was wearing today. I got in front of my mirror. I had 3 different outfits and 63% of my followers voted that I wear this flower dress. It's silly. It has nothing to do with real estate. It's just fun. But that honestly, that one post has as much engagement. I mean, it only had 500 views, but my videos that have, 54,000 views or whatever, that one video that I just posted had more interaction and more engagement than a lot of my stuff with much higher view counts.
Especially for the day of social media right now and talking about engagement. I don't know what you want. I graduated with a school class of 130 classmates, right? 500 people, if you look at what each one of those people have as also their sphere of influence for 10, 11, you're staying top of mind. People are engaging with you because they like that personality. That is what one of the biggest things are in our industry is, do they know, like, and trust you? And as simple as what that is, I've seen, we had a gentleman that did a tree chopping, and every day he would hit the tree with a hatchet, and it took him half of the year. Before too long, I'm watching this guy chop a tree every day, and it just brought me to the point because he would share a message. Not everything is accomplished immediately. It was his way of doing it. So, authenticity is key when it comes to marketing, right? So I love it. You're up next.
Yeah. So, Selena, question for you. When we were chatting, getting to know each other, setting this up, I didn't share this with you. I wanted to save it for the stage, but the impression I got from you, if I was going to describe what I took away just in our short conversations in one word, I'd call you a connector. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that's perfect. I'm glad you agree, because if you're like, nah, not at all, I was going to totally ruin my question. Talk about being a connector and how that has benefited your real estate business, and also if you've had any other benefits in your life from being this connector of people.
Yeah, absolutely. So most people that, if anybody knows me in here, most people know I'm an event girl as well. I love networking. I love peopling. Like literally I should teach a class on peopling. I walk into a room like this and I'm exhilarated. Like, yes, there's people. And my passion, I don't even know how to stop it, is just even talking to you guys, I'm like, there's a million people I want to connect you guys with right now. Like I can't stop it. It's the weirdest thing ever. But I'm a natural connector. And so when I did, I hosted 2 of the largest real estate networking events for about 8 years, just recently. Before I got into real estate, I was a lender in 2005 to 2008. I did all the things we're not allowed to do anymore. So I have a lot of great stories there. I made a lot of money as a 25-year-old in South Florida. And then 2010, I moved out here and I got into the multifamily world, and then eventually became a marketing director for a real estate closing attorney. That's where I became a networker, because it was my job to schmooze and booze the realtors and the lenders, get them to close the deal with me. It's how I met Carrie Smith, who brought me here today. Shout out to Carrie if she's still out there. And someone said you should start a networking event. I don't know anything about it. It's like, this is what I do for a living. I have a credit card to go buy drinks and lunch. And it was really easy. I'll talk to anybody, you know. And eventually I got recruited by one of my top brokers and said, stop connecting me with people, come sell real estate. And got my license, and a month later I started my first event. We had about 150 people in the door in Buford, Georgia, which is the burbs for whoever is not from here. 45 minutes away from the city, and at tacos and tequilas. Like I said, because if we're gonna do it, it's gonna be 5 minutes from my house, because I like to drink and I want to have a good time and I want to connect to people and I want to be able to make it home, you know. So, and that's what we did, and from there it just exploded. Like 6 months later, I got recruited from my own event by the president of NAREP. If anybody is familiar with the diversity boards that are recognized under NAR, NAREP is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. Mind you, I'm Latina. I had no clue what this organization was. The lady comes to me, I'm only 6 months in. I'm a buyer's agent on a team. She's like, I don't know who you are. We keep hearing your name. You keep coming up. You're this pro networker, and you've got this event that is just booming, and we would like you to be our event director. Do I get paid to do this? And my broker at the time was like, no, it's definitely a volunteer position, but it'll look really good. It's kind of like another accolade, you know, you're serving your community, you know, all the things. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess, let's do it. And to be honest, that took me into this, you know, all the way till now, where like talking in front of a room like this does not scare me. Made me a much better speaker, made me a bigger connector, and then I became event director, so now I'm dealing with, you know, $100,000 events, and I'm learning their sponsorship ways and pricing and how to connect and how to get people to work for you and help you become a vendor to pay for your events. So now I'm taking that big information and bringing it down to my little baby events at Tacos and Tequilas, right? And about a year later, I then opened another event called Flipping Mojitos. I like fun events, guys. And I had people all the time, Selena, we should do an event together. We should do one over here in Alpharetta. We should do one in Atlanta. And I'm like, guys, I'll be broke, single, and fat, and possibly an alcoholic if I do all these events. Like, I can't do this many events every week. This is a lot to do. But I loved it, and I became really good at it. And I did it for a full 8 years, 2 events a month, 2 totally different locations, and I met a lot of people, like a lot of people. So I think that's kind of one of my things that makes me stand out is, one, I've had the experience of kind of being in every aspect of real estate for the last 20-something years. And 2, I know a lot of people. So through the process, whether it's a vendor, a contractor, a lender, as I'm getting offers as a listing agent, I'm like, oh, this is a good one. I know this lender. Oh, this is a good one. I know this closing attorney. Oh, this one's great. I know this agent. Or I know her boss. I actually know the owner of that whole bank. You know, like, and they're like, man, you know everybody, Selena. You know, so that's probably my thing, I think, is my network is really, really strong. And, you know, at the end of the day, kind of like she was saying, you just got to show up. I didn't start like that. I didn't start with 5,000 people in my database. I think now I have 8,000 people in my database, and out of those 8, maybe it actually 5,000 people open the emails when I send it. But even then, there's still another portion of them that are only, you know, the true active ones, right? But at the end of the day, guys, you have to participate in your own miracle, and you have to show up with what makes sense for you. Because I have people that come to my events, and they're like, I've never done this before. I don't even know where to begin. I'm like, so easy. You ready? Let's go. Come on. And I just grab them, and I'm like, hey, this is such and such. This is, you know, this is Eric. Tell him what you do, Eric. Okay, great. I'm going to leave now. Goodbye. Get his card. I want you to hit him up on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn tomorrow. Send him an email. Says, hey, nice meeting you at Flipping Mojitos. When can we do lunch or business, or, you know, lunch or coffee in the next 2 weeks? Let's talk about collabing. Out of those 100 emails you send, 10 might respond. Out of the 10, you probably have 3 coffees in the next week. That's how I built my network.
I love that. So I'm actually super intrigued. So I'm putting myself in the perspective of somebody in the audience here that's like, I know events are good, but I feel like I still don't have exactly enough detail to go do this for myself. So I want to dig in a little bit. Flipping Mojitos, that's currently going on?
Nope. So I actually just stopped both of those events in like early fall of just this past year. Only reason was they were real estate networking events. So it was real estate professionals only. Agents, lenders, contractors, vendors, investors, anybody that's tied to real estate. The only reason why I stopped it is I noticed over the last year or two, the market shift, we lost a lot of real estate professionals. So I had more lenders, I had more vendors. I didn't have a lot of agents. And when you guys go to an event, you as a lender, who do you guys want there? Agents, because we are the business. We are the business. We're the ones that connect the dots. And my agent referral count also started going down. So I started noticing it, and you know, went to my business partner who happened to be a hard money lender, and he also kind of noticed it as well. And so we ended up pivoting, and we've only done one so far, but now we are hosting what's called the Velvet Experience. And it's basically VIP, invite-only, lifestyle curated events, like lifestyle experiences, right? So our first one was a boat party, and I opened it up to all industries. Why? Because everybody can buy, sell, or invest, not just real estate agents. And it is cool to have some great referral partners on different sides of Metro Atlanta or the world, for that, you know, for that sake. But it's cooler if you can just meet a random IT guy or a media guy or whoever, and now you're connecting them with everybody else within your group. So that's kind of the shift I've made this year, is to go into more like VIP groups where it's open to everybody.
Okay.
And I can really plug and play at a higher level. And then my goal is to kind of really monitor, like, hey, I'm hoping to get 2 referrals out of each person a year, you know, and if not, I'm going to invite somebody else, respectfully, you know, and limit that, you know, maybe only 2 lenders, maybe only, you know, 2 agents, me and a commercial, maybe a luxury person, you know, just people that are super micro niche in that industry that they're a part of.
Great. So basically what I'm hearing you say is everybody could be a potential client, and you even include other real estate agents in that, which is extremely interesting. So you have a pipeline of referral partners, it sounds like, other real estate professionals.
Yep.
Okay, great. So I want everybody to open their mind up to that, because what's so common in this business is we look around and we see competition, right? And I heard this quote a long time ago, and something I love with working with Tom and a lot of the people in this room is, the quote goes something like this. I'm probably going to butcher it because I always do that, but competition happens at the bottom, collaboration happens at the top. And in my limited experience, when I've been around some of the highest producers in whatever industry, they work together. They put their heads together to do whatever it is they're trying to accomplish, because they know the pie is always bigger than they can eat on their own. So the fact that you get referrals from other agents says a lot. And I want to ask everybody in the crowd, raise your hand if you don't mind. I know it's going to be a little uncomfortable. Raise your hand if you've never worked with an investor, never worked with someone trying to flip a house or buy a rental property. Everybody's worked with an investor? Come on. Close the deal with an investor. Okay, I will do this the other way. Raise your hand if in the last 6 months you've closed a deal with a real estate investor, either flipping a property, buying a rental, doing something multifamily. Raise your hand, please. So I want you all to look around. Notice the people that have their hand up. If you don't actively have a pipeline of real estate investors, connect with one of these other individuals here, because one of two things is going to happen. Worst case scenario, you learn about working with investors, you learn about the different programs, you learn how to approach those types of clients. Best case scenario, you find somebody you can partner with, right? Whether it's a referral fee or whether it's just the opportunity to learn together, you have a whole new pipeline you can build. And investors are a lot of fun to work with because they're not buying a house every 5 to 10 years. They're trying to buy a house like every 5 to 10 days, right? So with your event that you're doing, I again want to kind of zoom out and talk about the agents that either have very limited experience with doing events or have never done an event. What's the type of event that you think somebody in this room right here could go put together in the next 90 days and implement to get a good ROI? So maybe not coming out of pocket huge, maybe not renting a yacht or whatever it is the heck you do with the Velvet experience. What's something that they can put together in the next 90 days to build a pipeline for the spring?
Okay. So really quick, just to piggyback on the investor comment that you made. At my very first event called Wood Network that I started in Tacos and Tequilas, in that first year, I met my first investors that I worked with, and we did 12 deals together the next year. So it was like a salary, you know what I mean? I gave them a nice little hookup, but it was a salary, right? Without them, I might not have been able to float the next year because I was still new. I knew a lot of people, but again, you don't know who you're gonna meet out, right? And so I just always like to say, like, we wake up as an entrepreneur every day unemployed. Every day you wake up unemployed. Your job is to go find a job, and that's a house to buy or sell. However it happens, whether it's an investor lead, an agent referral, I get 35 to 40% of my business is agent referral. So I just wanted to say that because networking, there's a lot of power behind it, and it's just conversation. So for me, that's my lead gen. I don't like to call a list. My lead gen is meeting people and just talking and conversations. And so the question again, really quick, sorry, was?
So for somebody that has limited experience or no experience putting together an event,
yes.
What is an event? Like, give somebody an action plan for an event they can put together in the next 90 days that's low budget, high ROI, because we got to build this pipeline for the spring, right?
Absolutely. So if you live in a subdivision, which I feel like almost everybody in Georgia does, there's tons of subdivisions here, but even if you don't, one event that I started doing for my own neighborhood a few years ago, and I heard it from a family reunion KW agent, was dumpster donuts. Okay, and now you do have to get a vendor, to help, a sponsor to help pay for that dumpster. But basically, you're giving out free donuts for anybody who drops off their junk. The easiest thing ever. You just got to get someone to pay for the dump truck. Sometimes the dump truck guy is your sponsor. My very first one, he's like, I'll just do it because that's how many people in your neighborhood that are going to come and bring junk. They probably got more junk. Right? So what we did is we then created a Google form. So as they came, I'm like, hey, thank you so much for coming. And they've got, a whole bunch of things in their back truck. And like, here's a donut, scan this QR code, fill in the form so we can say thank you. Well, the form is, are you a homeowner? When was the last time you purchased? Have you been pre-approved? Would you like a refinance? Are you open to home value report? And it's like, 5 questions. That is one way. A free event though that you guys could do is KW is really big on reverse bolds. Nobody's ever done it. I didn't know what the heck it was either till I joined KW. It's a way to get people to call you. So what you do is you put together a little raffle. It could be a raffle or a giveaway, something free that would be easy to work on right now. Valentine's Day is a few weeks away, almost a month away. Is go make some reservations at some really nice fine dining restaurants. Right? We got Cotton Calf, you got Frankie's up the street, you got stuff in the city, and call your database, right? And either invite them and say, hey, were you and Tom available, on Valentine's? Me and my husband weren't available, so I want to give this reservation away, and usually they're booked. That's a come from contribution, like free thing. They think you paid for the reservation, you didn't do anything. You're just handing off a reservation. And it's a nice gesture. The reverse bold is where you put like a raffle, like something like that together, or maybe a gift card, or maybe, 2 dozen roses or something, right? You could do something fun for Valentine's and have people call you. So, hey guys, if you're interested in being a part of this raffle, on Monday from 12 to 2, everybody's gonna call me, or I'm gonna, if you're interested, comment below, so you'll post it, right? Post a little flyer. comment below, call me, right? Now you're gonna call your people, or they're gonna call you between that time, whatever you demand. And hey, do you wanna be a part of it? Cool, this is what I need. I need your name, your phone number, your email. Is it cool if we add you to the database? Absolutely. Okay, great. In order to get into it, that's what you gotta do. If you have referrals, I can get you in 5 more times. Oh, okay, hold on, girl. Let me call my friend at work. She actually mentioned the other day. Okay, great. Call me back with her information too. And then now you got people calling you. Always nice to get a vendor to help you guys out, or sponsor to help you guys out with whatever that giveaway item is. Now they're calling you. You're making it really cool and fun. You go live on Facebook or Instagram, and you're giving away whatever the heck it is you're giving away. Hotel night, a dinner, dozen roses, jewelry, Tiffany gift card, I don't know. And it's just an easy way to get people to call your phone, because some people need a reason to pick up their phone and call others.
It's really outstanding. I mean, you sold me at Dumpsters and Donuts, because
I just think that's easy.
I think if my wife could attest, if that was next door, I'm walking over because we have stuff, and I bet everybody does in their garage. The biggest thing of like taking the knowledge that we'll get here today and executing, I can't wait to see some of the pictures on social media for those that actually execute on this, because what a great way to meet people, and you are doing something of service to them because you're creating community. It leads into really, from a marketing standpoint, we always want to be the top agent in our city or top agent in zip code. And most of us bypass that fact of, am I the top agent on my street, right? Am I the top agent in my subdivision, like you said? And I think before we get to the point where you're trying to accomplish something that is, a task, like I want to be the top agent in Marietta, or I want to be the top agent wherever from, like, how many people on my street have I done business with? I would say shout out to my wife, even because she helped me do this with even Christmas cards, right? To me, it was like, how can we look up, I went on Zillow to look up the name on the tax record of everyone on my street. Like, why are we not becoming, even though they didn't come to our house and talk to us, well, let's go out to them. So that was really outstanding. I think, I want to lead into, from a marketing perspective, I know for us, as you heard, you got to see some of our team members here today, like Elizabeth Cassidy, who really, her niche is VA. I think for a lot of you, I've heard some of what your niche is, but the focus for the majority of those that are successful is you do have a niche. You find it important. Has it helped your business? And what can you share about that from a marketing perspective? Let's start on this.
So our Monarch has a very unique niche. So my business partner, Leanne Sherry, she's been in real estate for forever. She actually started out as a stager and then got her real estate license. And so she came with a warehouse full of furniture, and she was like, oh, wait a minute. I can take that overpriced listing because I have my own furniture that I can put in this house free of charge. When that seller wants to fire me, guess what? He's going to go look at staging costs. That's really expensive. We just offer that as part of our marketing package. So that's kind of our really unique niche is, hey, we stage our house as part of your percentage. It doesn't cost you anything extra. And also, like, I was in the industry, I think 7 years before I got fired from a listing. And I don't know a lot of other agents that can say that, but part of that is because I literally have furniture in your house. It's a little bit hard to get rid of me.
Yeah, Robert, from a marketing perspective, is that something that you are, putting out there that, hey, list with us, free staging available, and has it turned the dial for you? I get the point of not being fired because of it, but
I brought that up in this market. I will say we do talk about it a lot. It's on all of our signs. It's on every single piece of marketing that we have. I also get a lot of like grandma's houses that are really, really cute, but outdated. And if you just paint them and put modern furniture in them, all of a sudden that house from 1960 looks a lot more like it might be 1980. And you can move and sell stuff for a much higher price. On average, stage homes sell for, I think it's 8% more than the homes around them. Mm-hmm. And you can move and sell stuff for a much higher price. On average, stage homes sell for, I think it's 8% more than the homes around them.
Beautiful. It's a great niche.
So when I first started in real estate, I started with the first-time home buyers. I feel like that's like it seems to be like the low-hanging fruit. And as my real estate journey has progressed, I've changed my niche a couple of times. And what I did now is I just have specialties, and it depends on how I'm marketing myself to what type of group I'm going to talk about it. But I got my senior real estate designation, it's SRES, Senior Real Estate Specialist. And I dove into that in such a big way, and that, even though I don't do a lot of that right now, that is like the gift that keeps on giving, because, you know, making the connections to the assisted living facilities, making the connections to a reverse mortgage or HECM. Do you guys do HECMs? Yeah. So, you know, like get with these guys. If you guys aren't talking to HECMs and to your clients, I have talked myself out of so many listing appointments because that was right for the consumer. These seniors are calling us to give them guidance, and a lot of times they just need access to the equity. They don't need to sell their home. So now word on the street is like, Jessica's not going to make you sell. So I've gotten into some of these senior communities, and like they're referring me because I didn't pressure them to sell. I solved their problem, which was tapping into the equity in their home. And then I jumped over into new home sales, and so I joined the Home Builders Association, and I learned a lot about the building and land and all of that. And so now I'm kind of branding myself as a new home expert because I enjoy that process, and the seller's not emotional.
I would say one thing that I really do is pull my husband in here, but we do a pay-at-close service for remodeling for sellers, because we understand that not everybody has the funds up front to sell their home. So, but that offers such a big package, I feel like it packs a really big punch, because a lot of sellers don't know where to start. They are looking for somebody to hold their hand and allowing me to walk through somebody's home and in a buyer's eye and say, hey, you don't have to do all of the things, you just have to do the right thing. And focusing on that, and focusing on somebody that, you know, family-owned construction renovation business, paired with me as the expert, as the realtor walking in the home. I've been around construction my whole life, and just being able to really lead by service. And lead by service can mean a lot of things. A lot of people feel like that's the community aspect of it, but really lead by service is whoever you're in front of. Is people need our help all the time, and if we just listen to the consumer, we'll know everything that we need to know. And writing things down and what's important to them. And because here's one thing too, and I just want to bring this up before I forget, is people love to talk about themselves, okay? So the best thing you could do as an agent, and focusing on the social media aspect with my niche and the renovation, and I show people the journey, I storytell. I even show, like, my highlights on my social media is us renovating our own home and talking about, you know what, I understand as a seller, I can help renovate somebody else's home, but for some reason, when you're renovating your own home, it is like, it's pulling teeth, it's stressful, there was a lot of tears, there was, we didn't know what we were. And now my husband does this all the time, but I just had too much emotion into it. And kind of relating that back to the consumer. Like, if I'm feeling this way, how do you think that they are feeling? Like, I'm in it every single day. He's in it every single day. So when you come together as a powerhouse and you're offering more to the consumer, and every single time we close a deal this way, is you could just see it at the end. And that's what impacts my life so much, is the fact that I got to impact somebody else's life, and I got to make it easier for them. And you could tell just how transformative this was, and not only to my client, but to the buyer, somebody else's client. We were able to make something happen. So I would say that really incorporating the passion that I have for what I do every single day. I wake up every morning and I say, just pinch me. This can't be my life, you know, because my life has not always been this way. But now I get to a point where I'm like, you know what? God gave me a gift to serve, and I get to do that every single day. And I get to inspire other people to do that every single day. Well, what's not to be like happy about every single day? And my husband gets to do that with me every single day. So I say all of this is because my niche is like inspire. I want y'all to feel inspired, because I always felt like I was never gonna be enough, and I proved to myself along the way that I actually am good enough. And I want you to understand that, and I want you to understand how valuable you are, and you just focus on your gift, focus on serving people, never chase a transaction, you chase to serve, and that's it.
Love it. I think that's, we can give a round of applause for that. I like that. I mean, just creating that value by the pay at close we talk about from a networking perspective. I can think for me, for sellers that I know that, hey, I needed to have a roof, because now even with, especially in different markets, I'm not sure as much here in Georgia, but you know, they change guidelines on age of roof and getting repairs for it to where it's fairly easy. You know that you're going to sell that home. And if your husband can slap on a roof for what's going to be $15,000 or $20,000, which is going to yield them more, not, you know, cutting out 75% of the financing types, that's a true value, right? So that was awesome.
One thing I just want to share real quick, as you were talking about the trust and the value, is yes, there's companies out here. Curbio is one of them. I mean, all different types of companies. But here's one thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is that trust is the most valuable thing you can ever give somebody or you can ever get in return. So the way that our remodeling business is, we look at it like this, is Curbio, yeah, you could hire Curbio, they're very easy to contact. The issue is there's no relationship that you have with the contractor coming to do the work, okay? And contractors have a very bad rap, okay? That is what I will say, is because a lot of contractors don't do good business, okay? So what we really, really hone in on is trust and building relationship with people. You are hiring us not only because the pay at close with the no convenience fee up to 6 months, you're hiring us because you actually trust us. And you know that we're gonna hold your hand and we're gonna look out for your very best interests above our own all the time. So that was the last thing I wanted to mention about the pay at close.
Turn to your neighbor and say, you are enough. Or enough. So for me, one of my things that I think makes me stand out, we call it MOFR, right? Make offer for immediate response. When I have my listing presentation, a program that I created over a few years that I was like, why don't all home inspectors do this? I don't understand why. But I started doing pre-certified listings. What is a pre-certified listing? It's basically like you go to CarMax and you see the pre-certified Honda in the showroom, and just had testing and all the bells and whistles and all the things. Like, why wouldn't you buy that vehicle versus the one out in the parking lot that has not been tested? So what I include in my pre-certified listing, and I do 2 different versions of it, it's basically the same program, I just call it something different because semantics is a big thing here in real estate. I call it a second chance listing program for my expireds, and I actually eat that fee for the home inspection because I built such a relationship with my home inspector that he can get paid at close and he's cool with it, okay? So if I could eat that fee every time on every expired that I actually get an appointment with, and that's what gets me the listing, let's do it, right? Like, I mean, why not? Mark Spain has a cash offer, right? What is it? Rhonda Duffy is the 1%. Whatever it is, it's what makes them stand out. That's their thing, right? So for me, the pre-certified listing is your way to stand out as a listing, right? And so, hey, when you're looking at, and I show them, like, look, if you're the buyer and you're looking at a 3-2 in Lawrenceville, I'm going to show you all the ones that come up with this school district. Do you see any of them that say pre-certified? Any of them that say the home inspection's ready to share, the appraisal's here? No, okay, cool, because nobody's doing it, because I'm like the only one that does it. So we do that. I literally put that in the description as the first thing, pre-certified, home inspection ready to share, like all cards are on the table. And in today's market, it's working. Why? Because it's a buyer's market. We've got a lot of inventory and choices to look at. But now it gives my sellers a heads up on what's really happening in their house. No surprises. Here's the deal. They might still go get their own home inspection because they don't have to use ours. And if they do, there's no surprises on the big items. Maybe the small items, their guy may be a little bit more thorough than someone else or not, but there's no surprises. Good news is my sellers will have the right to fix those items prior to us going live. Or if they don't have the money, then I tell them, hey, okay, then that's gonna help us with our pricing because you know XYZ are gonna have to be repaired at some point. And I just want you to know they're gonna account for that in their offer. So now they're like, oh, okay, well, hey, we didn't know all those things were wrong with our house, you know? So it really, it sets us apart as an opportunity for the buyer. Sometimes they will, the buyer's agents will call me and say, can I take a look at the home inspection before we even come out and view it? Heck yeah, here you go. We have nothing to hide. Now, they don't even have to waste $500. And then what I do for my vendors is I double dip that guy and I say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer's agent, save your buyer $500. We just did this inspection 2 weeks ago. And either they fixed all the things, or they only fixed XYZ, or they didn't fix anything, because we're hoping an HVAC guy buys this house. You know, like, or a roofer buys the house, right? And I tell them, if you really, really want your buyer to get walked through again, my guy will re-walk you through. Now I double dip on my guy for $150. And they're like, oh, okay. And then I'm like, let's keep that report. Let's keep it in the house, you know, so nothing new happens. And it's something that sets us apart. It stands out, it looks good, it gives the buyer peace of mind, right? Before they're even submitting their offer, before they even look at the house, they don't even have to come out. They can just look at the report and be like, oh, this is a crap show, let's say, you know, or wow, they fixed all these things. This is one less thing we gotta do, you know? So there's a lot of old homes here in Georgia and a lot of renovations in Georgia and things like that. And so I just think if you already have that, like, why wouldn't you do that? If it's a property that needs some pricing help, I'll recommend that they get a pre-listing appraisal as well. You know, just let them know, hey, that's just kind of ammo in our back pocket. We can or cannot bring that up. It just depends on how it goes, you know. But I think a pre-listing home inspection in today's market really helps with the buyer's market that we're in.
But I think that's great. I know for me, how many deals have you guys lost after inspection, and the emotional response that it has on that seller? And for all of you, just coming up with niche ideas and executing it is what's key, right? Differentiate yourself from each other and try to figure out what works best for you. So let's give these amazing ladies a round of applause for really opening up the playbook and sharing